Hello, everyone. I'm Freida Whales, and today I'm chatting with the international drag darling and the OG queen of YouTube, Sherry Vine. When not in the middle of a pandemic, Sherry tours the world as a comedian, singer, and actress. However, in the middle of a pandemic, Sherry spends a lot of time on her phone and working in the Sherry Suctorium glory hole. Make sure to go check out Sherry's YouTube channel for more details on both. She's been doing drag for almost as long as I've been alive. And if she's not having fun, she's not interested. So let's have some fun and get into the interview. Welcome to my tank, Sherry Vine.
Hi.
Hello. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us for a little swim.
Honey, I am going to use that as my new intro.
Quite the grand entrance, hey? We like to do a ball entrance.
It covered everything and it was perfect. I loved it. I was cracking up.
So that kind of leads me right into my first question. What's the story behind your name?
Well, when I first started performing in drag 30 years ago this year, it was just Sherry for a while. And I don't know where Sherry came. I just was kind of like, I wanted to sound a little cheap, not suggesting that all Sherrys are cheap. I was just like, oh, Sherry, that sounds good. And it was just Sherry. And a friend of mine that I worked with said, girl, there is this apartment building on Vine Street above Hollywood Boulevard called the Sherry. And I was like, oh, I got to check that out. I drove by and it looked like a busted down crack whorehouse. And I was like, perfect. So it's Sherry Vine as in Vine Street, Hollywood and Vine.
I love that.
She's cheap, but she's like old school Hollywood glamour, but cheap.
Do you have a memory that you could share with us from your first times in drag that was really memorable to you?
The first time before I even performed, before I even considered that it was possible to perform in drag for me, I would get dressed up with Candace Kane. We were roommates. And she had this little scooter, and I would sit side saddle on the back in full drag, and we'd be smoking cigarettes, just driving around on this scooter through West Hollywood and laughing. It was just, all night long. That was the very early days, yeah, when it was just like, yeah, let's get in drag and go out.
So in July, you released your parody song, Glory Hole. And a few days later, the BC CDC actually released recommendations for socially distanced sex. And one of the tips was to use glory holes. How influential do you think your song was on Dr. Bonnie?
Well, I actually got the idea from a different news outlet kind of, tooting the same theory.
Yeah.
And as soon as I saw it, I was like, perfect. I have got to write a parody about that. I mean, honey, I've got 30 years of experience. But Jackie actually made that sign, Sherry's Succatorium.
Yeah.
And it's because I'm not gifted that artistic, I can't draw a straight line. And she's actually she's an artist. She and Joey Arias are two drag queens I know that are amazing visual artists. Anyway, she made that sign. It's sitting in my garage, and I keep threatening that I'm going to really put it to use, but I have not yet.
So looking through your YouTube, you definitely are the queen of parody songs. Do you have a favorite parody song you've ever made?
I mean, of course, Shit My Pants was major in terms of just kind of opening this door. I mean, it was the first drag video to go viral on YouTube, and it was right before Drag Race started. So I actually had this full year where I was very in demand, and it was a very exciting time. And after, doing drag for 20 years at that time, it just opened this door globally to millions of people that never would have happened otherwise. So I was very thankful for that. But my favorite is Telephone, which I did with Peppermint, which is another Gaga parody, which was also really big on YouTube, just because when I watch that now, I'm kind of like, how did we do that? Like, how did that happen? That we've got like 40 people, all these locations and props and costumes and all of those amazing dancers and queens and people that did the wigs and the costumes, all those people working for free, and that we were able to make that video for $1. And when I look at it, I'm like, that's a testament to the people that are in my world that I love and that love me and that are so supportive. And I'm so fall down on my knees to give thanks to those people.
So you say that you were the first viral hit on YouTube as a drag queen. Have you ever heard of Livonia, aka Greg Scarnici?
Yes, of course.
Because I think that he has a hit that was a little predated to yours. I think it was in 2006.
Well, Greg and I have done several videos together.
Yeah,
and
because we've done lots of
we did a big show together where we were kind of like different characters. It's very like lounge act. Buddy and Barbara, I think that's where the names. And yeah, we did a lot together. We did a short film together that he wrote and produced, not direct. He wrote and produced. My friend Josh directed it. And I wrote the song for that. But anyway, yes, we did several videos together. But I'll have to see which video that is.
We'll check the dates. We'll check all the research. It was a last minute discovery, so we had to throw it in there. So back to your parody songs. Are there any that have gotten you into any hot water?
No, there's another Gaga one, of course. My parody of Alejandro called "You're a Homo," which was very political, and it came right after I did Shit My Pants, I did Telephone, and then I did You're a Homo. It was very different because it wasn't about sex or poop. Mm-hmm. It was actually about these very Republican, conservative politicians who vote against gay issues, but then get caught sucking dick in the toilet at the airport. So it was kind of calling them out, and I expected to get into a lot of trouble with that because I put pictures of them up. I was calling them out saying, "You're a homo."
Like you specifically like picked certain people, like actual people.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
And my boyfriend at the time was just like, "You please don't put that up. Please don't put that up. You're going to get death threats. You're going to get in trouble." And it was a big hit, and I never got in any kind of trouble.
So speaking of music videos, you were also featured in the Erasure music video, Nerves of Steel, along with a huge cast of queers and queens and everyone famous. Can you tell us how you got involved?
Well, I've known Andy from Erasure, Andy Bell, and his husband, Steve. I've known Steve for 30 years since I first moved to New York. And I've had the pleasure of working with Andy several times over the years on like gay cruises and stuff. And he's just a sweetheart. And Brad, the director of that video, also directed Nina's video, and he does a lot of the Drag Race girls' videos.
Okay.
So they asked me, and I immediately said yes. First of all, I would have said yes without even having heard the song, because I'm an Erasure fan and a friend of Andy's. And when I heard the song, I was like, I love it. And I think the video it's so colorful and energetic and lively and fun. And I was like, this is exactly what we need right now.
Yeah. And just the cast of it was so fun. Because Candace Kane was in there too, right? And Raja and...
Candace. Yeah. I called her immediately when I saw that. I was like, you fucking bitch, you look so...
She looked gorgeous.
Oh, yes!
On a different track, after Drag Race season 12 came out, and like started coming out in all the news press and everything, and the catfishing news came out about Sherry Pie broke, your name was mistakenly used in a lot of articles referring to that. Are you still dealing with anything about that?
No, but at the time I was not happy.
Yeah, definitely.
About it. I mean, I know her not well, but before I left New York, we had met and I knew who she was. I was performing in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. I wake up one morning, I'm having my coffee, and I'm getting tons of text messages like, girl, are you okay? Don't worry, everyone makes mistakes. And I'm like, what did I do? Did something of my past come out? Like, what's going on?
My glory hole.
My glory hole. And it turns out that, of course, it was Sherry Pie. And I was like, oh, okay, well, whatever. These are people on Instagram or whatever. They're going to get confused. But then when I saw that it was like on the front page of news outlets and stuff, that's when I had to call my manager, who called a lawyer, who kind of had to call them and just be like, you have to change this immediately, obviously. And it's just kind of like such bad journalism.
As you know, I just did an interview with Jackie Beat, and you two are best Judies. I wanted to ask you, what is wrong with Jackie Beat?
What's not wrong with Jackie?
What happened to her? Like, did she fall on her head in drag?
Someone hurt her. I've met Candace before Jackie, so I've known Candace, but it was the same year. I met Candace in 1990, and she really was the baby. She is younger than Jackie and I, and Jackie's a year older than me. I just make that crystal clear.
Just one whole year.
One whole year. But Jackie and I met in 1990, and I'm not exaggerating. I don't know if you've ever met someone where in the first 2 minutes you're like, I've known this person for 1,000 years. And that's how it was. And we literally were inseparable. We met, and in 5 minutes, we were like, oh, there you are. There's another side to Jackie that most people never get to see because she's very on.
Yeah.
So if she's doing an interview, she's a great person to have on because she's just like witty and funny and jokes.
Character the whole time.
Right. And if you're in a room with 3 people and she's one of them, then you're an audience. But one-on-one, she's very chill, and she's actually a very generous, caring person. She's a very loyal friend. Another thing that I love about our relationship is that we're so close that we can literally scream and yell at each other without worrying that there's going to be any long-term damage.
The scars are already there, so it's all good.
Right. I mean, we will scream at each other and then just be like, what, are we going to have lunch?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, let's have lunch.
Can you tell us a little bit about the upcoming show with Jackie, your Battle of the Bitches, 8 Ladies of the 80s?
Yes. Oh my God, I'm super excited. We have a show called Battle of the Bitches, and we have many different versions of this show. We do every Halloween, we do Battle of the Witches.
Oh, okay.
And this is our Ladies of the 80s version, and it's all 80s songs, parodies, filthy dirty, of course. Mostly kind of pop, 80s, new wave parodies, but we just wrote literally 2 days ago a parody of Guns N' Roses' Welcome to the Jungle called Welcome to My Bunghole. And so we're excited to premiere that, and that is on Sunday, September 13th. And
okay,
people,
perfect.
if they want to see it, they just go to battleofthebitches.live. All live singing, comedy, blah, 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 all 80s. It's going to be gorgeous.
Jackie was kind enough to give us a little sneak peek of one of her parody songs. Would you mind giving us a little sneak peek of one of your songs?
You know, the newest stuff I just did in that Instagram show, which people can still watch. I mean, literally Alaska Test, because I did a parody of Alaska's song, Your Makeup is Terrible.
I know, I loved it, because I was inviting you to come to a Zoom meeting, and you were telling me the Zoom meeting is terrible.
Yeah, it's called Your Live Show is Terrible, and it's all about the technical difficulties trying to do these shows. And Alaska couldn't watch the show live, but I guess she watched it last night because she texted me and she's like, oh my God, it's hilarious. You owe me 79 cents, which I Venmo'd her 79 cents. So yeah, I just did a bunch of new songs in that, and I have some ideas, but I haven't written them yet. Welcome to My Bunghole, I think, is a hit.
Could you sing a couple bars for us? Is that allowed?
Welcome to my bunghole, it is big and wide. Just ignore those giant dildos that got lost inside. You will find I'm very hung, everyone agrees. If you wanna rim me, honey, lick between my knees in my bunghole. Welcome to my bunghole. So that's a little taste.
I love it. Oh my God. I was not expecting it to take that turn, so that was perfect.
Yeah. No one's ever expecting that turn.
The last kind of question I have for you is, every one of my guests I always invite to do a whale call before they go. So could you do me your best whale call?
What the fuck is a whale call? I don't know what that is.
It's a good little, ooh. You got to do some little,
oh.
ooh. Ooh. You went into the dolphin range there. Thank you, Sherry, so much for coming on. It was a real treat having you to visit my tank. Make sure to check out Sherry's Instagram lives. Tip that bitch. Make sure you pay her. She needs to pay her bills. For bringing us all these parodies about poops, fart, and dick. Thank you so much, Sherry.
My pleasure, Freida. A big kiss to you both.
Mwah.
Bye.